Warrior. Today is Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025. Today's topic is going to be um, to coincide with last week's topic. And last week's topic was how they're putting drain cleaner into our food system. And if there's drain cleaner in there, what is it doing? It's taking out our essential called enzymes, right? The proteins with the metal center. It's like what is made up of metal is being removed. And if those metals are being removed, meaning very necessary metals like copper, iron, magnesium, we need these things. Um, Potassium is a metal, and we don't recognize it as a metal. And if these things are being removed and depleted, we need to put things back. And so my last video was about what I do to put those things back into my body and my kids' bodies so that we can counter what's being put up against us, right? So if we don't take care of a strong foundation, like ourselves, meaning we have to make sure we have a strong foundation so our minds can work right, our bodies can work right, our thoughts, our processes, our functions, so we can be the full potential mankind that we are, and not be this downgraded version of what is trying to, this force is making us what we're not, right? When I say this force is this mentality, this mindset, these creature kind that I talk about on my channel that are called Canaanites, are making sure that we break down. So I'm showing how I build myself back up. I'm going to be 52 this year, 2025. And what I do in my life, how I physically act, how I think, what I'm capable of doing at my age shows that I'm not only talking about it, I'm actually doing it, and it works. And so what I'm going to be doing is my 40-day reset diet on this video. It's not going to be everything, right? Because it's a whole lot when it's a lifestyle. When I have my Patreon up and functioning, and I can dedicate the time necessary to give you guys the food facts, like what bread am I making, what oils am I using, what seasonings am I using, to make sure that we do not trigger an immune response while at the same time we're eating and enjoying our food, right? We're loving the food that we eat. We're loving our lifestyle because we're getting better. And at the same time, we're going to be loading up with nutrients that are effective, because anybody can go get supplements, but they're not effective. So I show what supplements I use that don't have drain cleaner slipped into them. See, that's what's going on, is we got this drain cleaner. I call it the Trojan horse effect, because it causes an immune response, and then the drain cleaner kicks in, and then we break down. So this Trojan horse effect, nobody's looking at, well, how it's sneaking and slipping into our foods and our supplements and our beverages and our toothpaste, our body creams. And so on my Patreon, it's going to be vitamins, or food, vitamins, and harmony. How we put our foods and our vitamins together to be able to get it all out in harmony with our families, in our lifestyle, because it's not an easy task, especially when we got things on the go. You know what? I forgot that I was going to, I just saw somebody pop up a comment. I forgot I was going to take the comments off, so I don't have people busting my chops as I'm talking. But let me see. Let me just read this one, and then I'll be taking them off. See, I'm 22 years old, and my mom's still. Oh well. I just started reading it, and I'm not even going to read it no more. I'm going to get this shit off. I'm sorry about this, everybody, that I got to do this shit. And I don't remember how to take this shit off. Give me a second. I know I'm supposed to be able to do this. Live chats. Gotta start making that shit a standard. Right? Live chats. Taking it all off. Wasting my time. All that stuff is just to try to block me and keep me from communicating what I'm trying to say. So today's topic, 40-day reset diet, so you guys can start getting some information to be able to help yourselves and your family. So you get an idea of what it is that I'm doing that helps me maintain my physicality, mentality, and mental and emotional health, right? We don't think about that, but our anxiety, our depression, our frustrations that are has nothing to do with the outside. What I'm saying is what's going on outside in the world. I'm not talking about that stress and anxiety. I'm talking about the stress and anxiety that we get that builds up because our mood is affected by our lack of nutrients. Lack of nutrients causes mood disorders, emotional disorders, and we don't recognize it. I'm going to be giving a little bits of tidbits of information which you guys can start looking up for yourselves. So you can start looking in that direction so you can help yourselves and your family, right? All right, so it's a lot of information that I want to go over. Pen and paper is a good idea because I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff that you can go start looking up so that when I do have my Patreon up, it'll you'll be more ready to go. You know, you have your effective supplements, you have your kitchen kind of reset where you're looking at removing what is this high lectin protein that we're going to be avoiding. So in this 40-day reset diet, I avoid in my lifestyle, right? In my lifestyle, I avoid high lectin proteins. Not lectin proteins because people say, well, there's lectins in everything. That's not what I'm talking about right here. There is high lectin, meaning high degree, you know, higher level, higher strength. And that is what I avoid. And I'm going to be talking about where they're at, right? These high lectin, once we can avoid these, and I'm talking about just for 40 days. When you see what happens, how your health, your energy, your mood, your feelings, how you get up in the morning, how you go to bed at night, how all these things start changing for the better, then it's not 40 days no more. It starts becoming a lifestyle. It starts becoming a lifestyle. And that's what I'm trying to get us at, step by step, right? And so these high lectin proteins, I'm going to be putting on a video. It's not too long, and I just found it today for you guys to try to explain what's the difference between a high lectin protein and a lectin protein, right? Dr. Paul Mason, he's occupational health, sports and exercise medicine, right? From Australia, and he does a really good video where he just does an explanation of what I'm talking about. Not because what I say what I'm talking about is I just need you guys to have some direction so that you guys can get some data on why I'm saying what I'm saying. What I found out for myself was in 2016 about these high lectin proteins and how it affects the body. And I started that lifestyle in 2019, and now speed up to 2025. I have figured out what they're slipping and how they're slipping and what they're called. Meaning we have fillers, additives, emulsifiers, right? Added into the ingredients in our products, our food products, our cosmetics, our just in general, right? Things that we eat and consume on our bodies. When we don't recognize that they're being slipped in there, meaning they're not necessary for that product to be its product. You know, you don't need these fillers to make a sauce or a fragrance, but they're added in there, and so it causes this Trojan horse effect that I'm talking about, where there's an autoimmune response, meaning there's been a trigger, sound the alarm, the body is now in defense mode, and it can't repair itself if it has to go into defense mode. And so if we give our body 40 days to not be triggered, to not sound this alarm, the body can then take these effective nutrients that we're going to be putting in through our food and supplementations. What ends up happening is the body can now spend all of those 40 days in repair, because it's either going to defend or it's going to repair, but it can't do both at the same time. And that's what we don't recognize. But once we recognize it, we start getting a handle on the direction that we're going in and why we're doing what we're doing, right? It's not a waste of time. So these high lectin proteins, let me go back to this doctor. Dr. Paul Mason, like I said, he's an occupational health and sports medicine exercise. He's going to put on there what he starts talking about at the beginning of the video is there's a huge amount of chronic illnesses and diseases that come just from these high lectins. And so if we can avoid these high lectins, then we don't have all of these chronic illnesses, right? Because these chronic illnesses that are coming from these that are slipped in, these high lectins, gosh, is it complicated? I actually do know what I'm talking about, but I'm trying to find the easiest way to explain what I'm saying. We used to think that wheat gluten was for celiac people, right? People who had celiac disease and they couldn't eat wheat and they got all these illnesses. Well, back in 2016, 2015, 16, I started recognizing that if I avoided wheat, I was better. But if I ate corn, if I ate rice, this is a pattern I recognize, right? Before anybody started talking about high lectins, I recognized that if I ate rice or if I ate oats, that I would still swell up. My body would still get big. And I knew that if you eat something, you don't get fat in 10 minutes. You have to wait for that buildup to happen, right? But I was huge. I was a big mama jamma. And so every time I ate, I got big. How is it that you get big so fast? Is because there's something affecting our genetics. And now I know what it is, but I didn't know what it was then. And so because I recognized that this whole gluten thing, I was like, they're lying to us, right? They're lying to us. I already knew these creature kind existed. I already seen them with my eyes. Now it's like they're telling us wheat gluten here, but yet these other foods are causing me the same effect. So I said, what do these oats, corn, and rice have to do with wheat? What do they have in common? And that's what I looked up. And what they had in common is they were from a nightshade family. And what do nightshade families all have is this high lectin protein. So I was on the hunch since 2016. Speed up to 2018, I get a 5G modem. That 5G modem goes on. For a lot of you who don't know, my YouTube channel is about this technology that we have in the food system. It's going in our body, and for people like myself, it's ripping out of the body. So when I bought a 5G modem, anyways, I turned that thing on in 2018. My story's on my YouTube. This tech started ripping out through my face, my arms, my legs, my buttocks. It was tragic, right? And I couldn't figure out what was going on and how to stop it. So I was able, speed up, 2019, I was able to recognize what's going on. Is that we drop our immune system, or if I drop my immune system, I'm talking about myself. If I dropped my immune system or caused an immune response, which I already figured out is the wheat, the corn, the rice, anything that has to do with these nightshades, which is also oats and sugarcane and barley, and we ain't paying attention to how big and expansive this nightshade family is, right? I was staying away from those things, but things happened in my circumstance where I had changed my diet up so much because I recognized I got to stay away from these high lectin proteins, and this tech doesn't seem to rip through my body. Everything seems to be okay. And I was able to maintain this diet for long enough where I was just watching everything I was eating and taking notes of what I was having, right? So it was repetitious. And then one day I put a tomato in that repetition, and then boom, everything went just as if I was eating the wheat, the corn, and the rice, and all these grains that I'm telling you have these high lectin proteins, right? I had no idea that tomatoes and all these vegetables also had this high lectin protein. So I ate this tomato, and then all of my scars got real dark and black. You could see them under my makeup. My skin started to tear, and so I had to look up what's in the tomato. What causes irritation from a tomato? Long story short, I looked it up, and it was also because it's a nightshade family. So these nightshades are in fruit, vegetables, grains, seeds. So they're in many things. And I had to learn all these things throughout all these years so that I can bob and weave through this food system so that I can bring to you guys what it is that I do to make your life easier, faster, and shorter. Like, how do I make my bread? How do I make this? How do I make... And as I'm showing you what I'm making, you're going to be able to move faster through your lifestyles. So you can go get your mayonnaise that doesn't have it, or your hot dogs that don't have it because it's not slipped in the other ingredients, right? I'm trying to narrow down a lot of information. But these things are what needs to be looked at if we're going to do a 40-day reset. We want to try to give our body a chance to recoup and recover from illnesses in general, mental, physical, emotional, psychological. We got a lot of problems, and it's coming from one ground base. I know that there is a lot of illnesses and things causing an effect in this toxic world that we're in. So I'm not saying it's the only one, but it's a main root. It's a main base. And if we can take care of this root of this problem, we're going to see a whole lot of benefits, a whole lot of things getting better. And so I'm going to give an example. If we have a car and we put sand in the gas tank, and we know sand don't go in the gas tank, but we're putting it in there anyways, and we're running the car, and then we have all this thousands of different problems that this car now has, but we ain't ever going to pay attention to that sand going in the gas tank. We ain't ever going to look at that. We're just going to look at this problem and that. Well, all these, let's go with hundreds of problems, right? We got all these hundreds of problems, and we're going to diagnose every single problem without looking at the main cause. So if we look at the main cause, we're going to take care of all these hundreds of problems. That's what I'm trying to say. That is what I'm trying to say. So nobody get my words mixed up, or misunderstand what I'm trying to go with it. Is we're going to take care of a whole lot of problems when we're able to do this for 40 days, not trigger an immune response with nightshades, with legumes. They also have this high lectin protein. That means your coffee in the morning, because coffee beans are from the bean family, which is a legume family, is what I'm trying to say. And that's something that we don't look at because, coffee is part of our lifestyle. So I had to switch it up and go to Assam black tea, because it's the blackest tea I can find, so I can get my caffeine. And then I put it with chicory roots. Neither of those two cause an immune response. Tastes like the best cowboy coffee I've ever had. Like, it tastes better than coffee. It's fantastic. I get my caffeine. I put evaporated milk, because that's another one, is pasteurized cow dairy has a high lectin protein. Raw cow dairy does not. And so I'll put a video I did a few years ago on here about explaining how is it that pasteurized dairy causes this high lectin protein effect, right? And so once we stay away from pasteurized cow dairy in our butter, in our cream, in our ice cream, and all these things that have this pasteurization of our cow's milk, our great grandparents didn't pasteurize their milk, so they didn't have the same problems that we have. But this is what's going on. So when we avoid the pasteurized cow dairy, the legumes, and the nightshades, and any other fillers and stabilizers that are in the ingredients, we're going to be able to see an effect, because the body's not going to get a response, a trigger, like a landmine. The ground looks safe, everything looks okay, until boom, you step on a landmine. Until boom, you put it that one shot, that one time, that one bite, boom, will cause an effect in the body. So what I've been able to do with the supplements, putting them into the body from the last video, I'll put my last video on here, drain cleaner in the food system, and then I show some basic supplements that we need for a good foundation for the cells to load up and work and function, right? Putting it together with this 40-day reset diet of knowing what it is that we need to start avoiding. I'm also going to put a link there of my Instagram, which is Trade That for This, so that we know, okay, I can still have chips. Let me go get these chips. I can still have mayonnaise. Let me go get this mayonnaise. I put where I buy it. I put the price on there. And then I put why I'm trading that for this. And so that can help your lifestyle in some way. So we're not going to stop eating. We're just going to stop eating what's causing a response to our immune system that allows this drain cleaner then to just take a hold and run through our body. So maybe tech is not what is affecting your body. It is affecting my body, and this is why I do what I do, and I know what I know from personal experience, and I do the research, and I live it. I put it in, and I work it, and I feel it, and I become what I'm now sharing with you guys, or I should say I have become, right? I have become. And that is stronger, faster, better than it was when I was in my 20s. Because I didn't know what I understand now about how the body works, how we can become optimal. We don't have to be what we're being turned into, and that's dysfunctional, incapable, right? Disorientated, frustrated, and I ain't even talking about the social, political, religious, economics that's going around in our world that causes those effects. I'm just talking about the internal operation of the body, because once the body's strong, it can handle all of this opposition that we got around us, right? All these other stressors that are imposing on our lives. So making an optimal, physically capable, balanced, calm, steady, and fucking ready individual is what I'm setting out to help you guys with. I want to make sure that I get you guys some info. I met a lady on the bus. I drive a bus here in Tempe, Arizona, and her name's Destiny. She had a bunch of, she had all her children with her, which is a nice handful of children. And one of them was just really, let's just call it cranky, upset, frustrated, right? And I asked her if she knows anything about supplements. Mother was very well informed, but she didn't know how to help her kid. So I told her I was going to post here a link of gummies that I'm going to be getting from my nieces, because one of them can't swallow vitamins, right? So I have to look up gummies for my niece, right? For my niece. And so I'm going to be posting on here for Destiny, like I said I was going to do for her. And that's her B vitamins, benfotiamine in a gummy form. That would be getting her B1. And also the D3 vitamin with the K2 and the magnesium glycinate. So once we have, and minerals, minerals and just things that we need to be giving our kids so that they can also have a better start in the day, because they suffer a lot too. Our kids suffer a lot, and they don't know how to express what they're feeling inside except to cry it out. And I'm saying this from experience. I've seen this with my nieces. One of my nieces, you couldn't even put socks on her because she couldn't handle how it felt on her body, and it's sensitivity and irritability to their senses, and that's a B vitamin deficiency, and that's high dose with this benfotiamine that I'm telling you guys about, along with the B complex, right? Something so simple, the fix is so simple, but we're not told it's simple, because then our world would run better. Again, I say Canaanites run our operations of our world on my videos, and if Canaanites are running our world, they want to make sure we do not function. One of my other nieces, she would get these extreme panic attacks of ultimate fear, like insane amount of fear, and it would be instant and sudden. I'm going to be putting a video up here for you guys of, I should have wrote it down and I didn't, but it just came up to my thought. I'll remember in just a minute the doctor's name. But it's about lactic acidosis. When we get lactic acidosis, meaning our carbohydrates are not turning into glucose. Our processes are not working, and we need B1, right? We need a high dose of B1 to break down carbohydrates, or else that carbohydrates turns into lactic acidosis, and that lactic acidosis then turns into anxiety, panic attacks, fear, negative thoughts, evil thoughts. This is real. Like, this is real. And this is just because we don't have basic nutrients in our soil that goes into our plants when they grow, or into our foods, or what our cows are eating, or it's a chain reaction. This chain reaction, we're not getting it, so we need to supplement and put it in. This is what this is about, right? And so my daughter would get panics of anxiety, right? Call me, and one time when she called, she said, "Mom, I can't stop crying," and she's crying over the phone. I said, "Mija, do you have any of the benfotiamine that I left there?" There was one left. She took that one, called me back in 20 minutes, and she goes, "Mom, how can that have just gone away like that? I mean, just gone away." So from emotional, distraught, crying, felt like the world was collapsing, to it's just gone. This is from my daughter telling me how is it that it can turn like a switch on and off, because that's what we got going on. Our body works like an operational, like mechanics, right? Like, not mechanics like a machine. Machines are copying what's natural to our nature, and it's natural to our nature to get triggers, signals, switches turned off and on by nutritional markers, signals that relay messages chemically and electrically through our bodies. If we were taught this as we were growing up in schools, we would know this, but then we wouldn't accept the shit and the fuckery that we get in our food system today. We wouldn't allow it. This is why we don't know nothing about it. It's starting to come up now to the surface where people are recognizing how important this stuff is. And so B1 and B vitamin complex takes care of all those sensory disorders, panic attacks, negative thoughts, racing thoughts. All of that is just B1 in a high dose. And I'll be putting a video up there for you guys on that. I do it on all my videos, right? And a B complex. So your B1 is like the tree, and the branches are all the B complex, all the different type of Bs, just in the right dosages, so that we can be the strong tree that we are, and our kids can. Our kids could grow up correctly, because they really need us to know what we're talking about so that we can help them. So it's not just give it to them and see what happens. It's let's take it for ourselves as parents so that we can feel better, know what we're doing, and then make sure that we can get it to our kids. And when I say this, please talk to your pediatricians, your doctors, whatever medical professional that you are working with, so that nothing is put on me for sharing with you what I do for myself and for my children and for my family members, right? The lack of oxygen to limbs, that's another problem that we have, and it's a B1 in high dosage. We need oxygen taken from the bloodstream into the cells, and B1 does that. But not the B1 that we go and get at the regular store. So don't think that the B1 that you're going to go get at a Walmart or at a Walgreens is going to work, because that's 1 milligram. We need 100 milligrams or more. That's called a high dose. 100 milligrams or more. Again, speak to your doctor, do your research on YouTube. I'm going to be putting some links there for you guys to see what is high dosage B1. This B1 is called thiamine, right? I'm going to be putting that on for you guys. I say that because there's a lot of people who don't feel their limbs, their hands, their feet, and they don't know why and what's going on. They get it where it falls asleep and this oxygen is missing, and we need B1 every day in high dosage every day. My kids take it every day. I take it every day, and it's amazing. All I can say is amazing. I'll give you guys a story of a lady today or yesterday. Her name is Sandy. She was crying getting off of the bus, one of the bus drivers, right? We're driving back to the yard after our shift, and I'm like, what's going on, Sandy? She goes, my nerve pain. She's been going through this for 5 years, suffering nerve pain for 5 years, and she's talking about how it's shooting through her arms and her feet, and this poor woman works like this on a regular. And why she got to work? Because we all have to, so that we don't live outside, right? But she's doing it while she has this pain for all these years. I said, Sandy, I even got pissed about it. I said, let me give you some of my B vitamins, right? First, I had to make sure she wasn't taking, right at that moment, any medication, because medication and vitamins don't go in at the same time. You got to have space of 2 hours at least to talk to your doctor about it. But she took that B1. I gave her 2 of them because she looked real super broken, right? Real super broken. All I gave her was the Thymax that I have, right? The TTFD. It's a type, TTFD is a type of B1. I gave her 2 of them. I said, you make sure when you take this, 1, you take it with food so you don't get any stomach cramps. 2, you got to make sure that in about 20 minutes, you tell me how you feel, or you write down how you feel. You notice how you feel, because if you don't notice, you're not going to notice where it's coming from. If it's working for you. Is it putting you to sleep? Is it making you feel better? Did your pain subside? You got more energy? What do you notice? Because things take action within 20 minutes. And that's something we don't notice and we don't pay no mind to. But when we take something, we need to notice in about 20 minutes, how do I feel? What am I feeling? Because when we drink a cup of coffee, I'm going to give an example. When we drink a cup of coffee, we feel that caffeine in about good 20 minutes, because that's how the body operates. It's either working or not working. It's doing something. So we just need to know what that something is so that we can take a step from there. Either something that's going to work for me or not work for me. People be doing, and I say this because people be taking stuff for like years and there ain't no change. Why ain't you taking, and you putting your money in stuff for years? Shh. So in 5 years that Sandy is suffering and going to the doctor, I give her something, and in 20 minutes it takes an effect, and she came and she told me that her pain subsided, that she recognized it worked, that she didn't have that same pain. And so today she got them, she's getting them ordered, right? She's getting them ordered. Now, if something doesn't work for you, it's because there's probably something else missing, or there's something else in the equation. You got to look at my back video so you can know what I'm talking about, so I don't have to talk about it right here again. But the basic is to this fundamental is we need some basic standards, some B vitamins with the mega dose of B1, D vitamins correctly formulated together, which I'll put on right here, and look at my back videos, you know what I'm talking about. And we need minerals. Let me tell you something about minerals. Minerals are so important that even I forgot about them, how important they are. I forgot about them. I do this. I even make my own minerals, right? I even got a video that I posted in 2020 of my own mineral formula, which I have not found a better mineral formula than my mineral formula. And I say that because I feel that other people have felt it. But in these 2 years that I've been out here in Arizona, I haven't made them. When I brought what I brought from Mexico, I finished them, and I have not put myself to make my own batch of minerals, right? I stopped taking minerals out here because they were loaded with one thing or another. It's called the registered trademark. When you see a little R on the side of a word, that means there's something in there that you don't know about, and you never will know about, because they got a secret formula that they don't have to share with you because they registered it. It's their trademark. It's what makes their brand. I had a situation happen to me where I needed minerals so bad when I came out here to Arizona because it was so hot. I leached out all my minerals and my body swelled up. I couldn't even shut my shoes. I couldn't even put my shoes on. That's how bad my circumstance was. And I knew that I leached out all my minerals, but I didn't know I was going to cook in the Arizona heat. And that was going to happen to me like overnight, right? So I go quickly and I go to Sprouts and I get some minerals. Because I knew that I just leached them all out, and apparently I cooked, right? And it was called, I had to look it up, edema, right? all the fluids come up to the top, like when you make a turkey in the oven, all those fluids come up to the top, slow cook. 20 minutes after taking the minerals, boom, all the swelling went down. Just like that. That's how important minerals are. And that's a variety of all the different minerals that we have that are in the sea, that are in sea kelp, that are in the ocean, that when we put them together and put them in the right amount of dosage, when I say right amount of dosages, you got to go look that up. I'm not going to talk about that right here, meaning things got to be proportioned right. You can't just have some sea salt and think that you have enough minerals. We need plentiful. We need the right amounts, substantial amount, correct amount, not minimal amount. And so when I got these minerals in my body and I saw that all that swelling went down and I was able to put my shoes on, it made me recognize how seriously important minerals are, and we all underestimate them and overlook them, even myself, knowing how important they are. I learned from Tony Pantallaresco how to make minerals. I'll put a video of Tony making the batch of minerals or just talking about minerals in general and how they push the tech from going into the cells, because we have this technology in the food, so it's in our body, and the more well loaded our cells are on a daily basis full of these minerals, it keeps the tech from being able to grab a hold, because minerals and this nanotech do not merge together. They're like oil and water, right? They oppose one another. So it's about keeping the cells loaded to keep the tech off. And that's why I started making minerals, to keep the tech off, because the tech was tearing me up from head to toe. I will put a video of my interview when I interviewed Tony Pantallaresco, and we were talking about this tech and what it's doing in general, right? When I first started my YouTube channel here on Truth and Integrity Warrior back in 2019. What I'm trying to say right now is, last night, knowing what I know, and I had stopped taking minerals, I don't know, maybe since I started taking these D vitamins. What I end up doing is, circumstances happen in my life where when I start a new vitamin or a new mineral, I take it kind of by itself, not too many other things are coming around it, because I want to know how this thing is working with no other interferences, so I know how this thing works. I forgot why I stopped taking minerals, but anyways, long story short, I stopped taking minerals when I started my Ds around that time. And I know I stopped taking them because I changed the formula of one of the videos that I did for you guys, where it was the Chlorella with a little bit of, vitamin C, right? I was taking that, I changed the dosage, and after that, I just stopped taking it. I just stopped taking it after that video. I don't remember the date on that. But because I started training yesterday, I went to go work out at the boxing gym. I went back to the boxing gym. And my coach worked me out so hard. It worked everybody out so hard that in the middle of the night, I'm dying of thirst. Again, because of these Ds, right? I'm dying of thirst. And I got cramps in the back of my legs. And I'm like, I know that if you get cramps in your legs, you're mineral deficient. And I'm just like, this is why I'm super thirsty every night for the past couple of months since I started taking these, is because I'm not taking minerals. And it didn't come to my awareness, like, even what I know, I still didn't make the connection that my excess thirst, since I've been taking these Ds that you've heard me talking about on my past videos, talking about these D vitamins and this extra thirst that I have, is because I'm lacking minerals. And so when you lack minerals, water, right? We need more water intake. And when we lack minerals, we get cramps in our calves. Our menstrual, for the females anyways, menstrual cramps hurt more than necessary. Like, when I take minerals, I don't even feel menstrual cramps. And this last month, because I actually got my period after doing one of my videos, I got the hot flashes. I'm going to talk to you guys about why I was getting hot flashes and extra thirst when I'm taking these Ds. Is because of vitamin deficiency. Vitamin deficiency. And so I'm always talking to you guys about vitamin deficiencies, how we got to load and we have to take this and we have to take that and we got to make sure our bodies are working right. I'm going through deficiencies and recognizing them and showing them to you guys. So first of all, my D vitamins, going back just a little bit, my D vitamins. You guys saw me like super thirsty. I'm always now drinking water in the middle of the night. I'm super thirsty. I'm not recognizing these minerals until I get cramps in the back of my legs last night because of all the training, all the running with my coach, right? Out in the field. And so I'm like, once I get those minerals back in, my thirst is not going to be so extreme in the middle of the night, right? Like I'm crazy thirsty in the middle of the night and it's fucking up my sleep pattern. It's messing with my sleep and that ain't okay. And that's something I've noticed these past couple months. Hot flashes. I was getting hot flashes and I'm just like, what is up? Am I going through menopause? Because you guys know I'm gonna be 52, right? And I'm like, oh, maybe this is my menopause, right? What's up? But at the same time, I know it's because of the D, because this is the new thing that I'm doing. It's the D vitamins, right? And so I'm talking to this guy named Nick. He's a supervisor on my bus, and he's a safety supervisor, and he's checking me out, and we're going for a ride. And of course, I'm going to be talking about supplementation, vitamins, and minerals, because that's just what I do, right? And so I'm talking to Nick. Hey, Nick, you know anything about supplements? And so we start talking, right? And I started talking about how I lost power because I'm iron deficient. I need to get iron because I stopped eating meat. And I noticed that my power ain't what it used to be. And so how could that be gone just because I stopped eating meat? And it was iron, right? So when Nick hears me talking about iron and power, he says, yeah. He goes, iron is also a temperature regulator. And I'm like, what? It regulates our temperature? So I'm tripping out. I'm just like, oh my God. This is why I'm having the hot flashes and I'm dying of thirst because of mineral deficiency, iron deficiency. Now I'm having hot flashes. Long story short, thank you, Nick, very much if you're watching this video. I bought some liquid drops of iron. I don't have that problem no more. Gone. That's how fast the change up is when we have a deficiency, we got a problem, we fill in that void, we don't got no more problem. We don't got no more problem. I mean, even I go through these things, right? I'm not perfect. I ain't great. I'm learning as I'm going for the stage that I'm in. But from where I've been, I know a lot. Like, I know a lot. But I'm still never too good to keep learning. Never too good to keep learning. Obviously, I haven't got my minerals. I'm still taking the chlorella, but I do that once a week, right? For removing heavy metals, because that's what chlorella does, right? And it gives you your greens. For people who don't eat greens, you get that through your chlorella. You get your phytonutrients, what they call phytonutrients, mean thousands of nutrients you can only get from plant vegetables. But we need minerals all day, up to even twice a day. Even after we run, boom, we need to reload with minerals because we just sweated them all out. And we don't look at minerals in this way. We don't think about how the body needs to operate with minerals. And we start recognizing when we start cramping up because we're mineral deficient. Excess thirst, mineral deficiency. And I never had excess thirst. Not like this. So I started taking these D's, and I thought it was because I'm taking D's. It's because I'm taking D's, and I forgot to also make sure to put in my minerals. So for that mother out there, Destiny, I'm going to be putting for you and for anybody else who wants to utilize this information, the minerals, the benfotiamine in gummies, the D vitamins in gummies, stuff that we can give to our kids, right? Because as adults, there's a lot of things we can take, but for kids, it's just different. So I'm going to be putting a list of what I'm going to be getting for my nieces, right? My kids are older; they take anything in vitamin form. They don't have a problem. All right, I think I got everything covered that I wanted to talk to you guys about. I'm gonna put this is more of a video where I'm gonna put a lot of listing. It's gonna take me today and tomorrow to put all the listing. I'm gonna put the main nightshades that we regularly eat and are paying no mind to. The legumes, pretty much everybody has legumes down. They just forget that coffee is a legume, and most people aren't ready to let go of coffee. Pasteurized dairy video I'm gonna put up there for you guys. I'm gonna put the list of fillers, the same fillers that are in the video my last video I just did. Those fillers in the supplements are also the same names of the fillers that we have in the food. They go together. But I'm just gonna pull from that video and put it over here. All right, so you guys got that list of fillers that you want to avoid because they're nightshades in different names. Nightshades in different names. They're in our spices, they're in our beverages, they're in our gum, they're in so many things, and we ain't paying no mind. I think I got everything covered. Like I said, come back to this video Friday because I'm gonna spend today and tomorrow getting all that in there. I'm off on Friday, and I'll be sure to have all of those listing the names of things we want to avoid for 40 days so that we can be ready and on track when I get this what is it, this Patreon, my Patreon that I want to get out for you guys so that we can get a jump. This is just so that we can get a jump to know what these other videos are going to be about. So our kitchens are loaded, our bodies are loaded, with things that are actually going to benefit us, that's going to help us. Because that's my goal, is to make sure that we get better, faster, younger, and stronger. On my Patreon, there will be an area of the things I do to supplement for youth, because that's separate and it's different. It still pays attention to not triggering an immune response. That's always going to be everything that I do. I'm never triggering that immune response because I need my body to repair. I need my body to regenerate. I need my body to restore, recover, renew. And to do that, I got to pay attention to the capsules. I got to pay attention to everything that goes into my body, and that's what's going to be on my Patreon. It's going to be food, vitamins, and harmony. How we're going to bring all of that into balance and look young, get younger while we do it, right? Okay, you guys, I'm sorry that I can't read any comments because interruption and interference. This is Michelle Angelic, Truth and Integrity Warrior, saying get ready. Watch my last video. I'll post it right here. Pay attention to the list that I'm going to put out for us so that we're ready for when I deliver my Patreon. All right? You guys stay well and stay blessed.